This month for Global Stampers, we have to use a product from the new holiday catalog. So I just recently got the Buffalo Check background stamp, so I'm going to be using that. I'm pairing it with the Seasonal Chums stamp set, and I'm specifically going to use the pumpkin. I have a scrap of Whisper White for the stamping. I have a piece of the new black foil that I'm using. I have 2 pieces of Whisper White, that's 4 by 5 1/4. I have a piece of, my card base is basic black, and it's 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored at 4 1/4. I'm going to use the seasonal tag framelits, specifically the one for the pumpkin. I'm using my blender pen because I'm going to be doing some coloring. I have the Memento Tuxedo black ink for stamping. I'm going to be using crushed curry, garden green, and pumpkin pie on my pumpkin. And I'm also going to be using some of this gorgeous, I love it, it's glittered organdy ribbon. Look at this. Isn't this so cool? Wait till you see it on. So I'm going to use some of that. Okay, first thing I want to do is I want to show you how to put this together, because you know, you got to get, when it's something like this, you need to get it on there straight. So I put this one on and then it hit me. I probably should show you how to do this. So I'm going to do the top the same way I did the bottom. And what you do is you find your edge and you start peeling. All right, and then what I do is I fold this back and I get my piece on, and I did this the same way, oops, with the piece, the bottom piece. All right, and I'm going to get it down straight. Make sure it's stuck down at the top. And then what you're going to do is use your hand, slide it along, and pull your paper off. And I did the same thing for the bottom with the stamp. And now it's all set to go. You got a good, smooth spot in both places. So with that in mind, I'm going to do some stamping for a background, and I'm going to use pumpkin pie. Okay, I have workers here and the dog keeps barking, so I just put her in her room. So you'll hear her, but in the background. Okay. All right, when you have a big stamp like this, take your pad to your stamp. You also can then see if you've missed any spots. Like see, that's not fully, that one's not done, that one's not done. So you can go back in and fill in with it. And I think I'm going to work from the bottom because there's a lot of dots at the top. So what you want to do is take your, and I'm going to turn it to do it. I'm going to line this edge up with this edge and the bottom up with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it right here in this corner and come up the side like so. And you want to take your paper, flip it over, and press. Now when you do this, you need to hold it tightly so that it doesn't shift. If it shifts, you got a mess. Let's see if this one turned out better than the first one. Oh, I think it shifted on me. No, it didn't. But see, it's the pad, it's not this. Because the pad has that, I'm storing it this way, and I need to store it this way so the ink stays at the bottom, not the top. So, but that's what causes that. And I'm going to flip it this way because I can then hide that. Now, what I'm going to take and do is I'm going to use some of that ribbon, and I'm going to put the ribbon across the bottom like so. So I need some tear and tape for the back. And I don't know if this is metallic. Yeah, it's metal edge, so it stays kind of bent. It's very fine, but it's still metal edged. And let me get some tape down. Okay. And now comes the fun, getting this off. There's one side. You have to be careful and not pick up the tape or you ruin it. All right, so there's that. Now, I'm going to take my ribbon and I'm going to put it right across here. And the advantage to this is with the lines, you can see if you've got it on there straight. There. All right, and now I'm going to add some tape to the back to sandwich it in between the two tapes so there's no chance of it coming out. When you have the organdy ribbon like this, it doesn't like to stick to the tape, so I sandwich it in between two. Let me get my card base, because then we can put the card base together like so. And I'm going to take off my tape on the back. One side down. See, it didn't. You have to burnish it in too. There we go. There. I didn't have that end burnished in and the whole thing picked up. All right, now make sure my card opens the right way. And if you want a lighter color, you could use our brayer, the sponge brayer, to put color down. You could use a sponge dauber or a sponge to put it on. All right, so there's that. And now it's time for the bow. Gotta have my bow and my bling. And I got the bling. Okay, this ribbon is not a good one for tying a bow, so you gotta work with it. It's stiff on the edges, probably because of the wire. There we go. Yeah, so just keep playing with it. And I will use it because I love this ribbon. All right. Now I need some glue dots, which are here. And I'm going to put that there and one there. I'm going to put my bow right there. Isn't that cute? Oh, oh. All right, time to do some stamping. Now, this set is fabulous for fall or Halloween because I did this as a fall card. And then I'm going to do this today as a Halloween card. So, you know, that's the advantage to this one. The others don't work that way. So, and normally I don't mask it. But for this one I am, because I don't want it to get the ink anywhere else. And then I'm going to move up a little bit so I have room to cut this out with the framelit after I color it. There we go. All right, to do our coloring, you're going to need a scrap paper and your blender pen, and I'm just going to use the same one I used. So I'm going to squeeze the lid. Now this is the old pad. With the new pads, I don't feel comfortable squeezing. I know people said you can squeeze from the back. To me, it's not sturdy. So what I do is I take my pad and I put ink on a block and just pick the ink up from there. So something to think about. And I'm going to mix this and I'm going to try to do this. I'm going to get various colors, which is fine because the pumpkin is not all one color. All right, and then I'm going to come from the top up and meet. I find that when you have a large image and you're trying to color with a blender pen, this coming from the top down and then the bottom up helps a lot. And I'm going to hit this little area here and there, and I'm using really a light, I'm really using the ink pulled way out so that it's a little lighter. And then I've got to get in and get these, but I'm coming from this angle so I don't get into the center. All right, now, all right, here I go. And I'm going to be careful not to hit the eyes. And stop at the mouth. You could use the blends if you have them. I do not. So that's why I'm using the blender pen with it. And I'm gonna, and remember, pumpkins are not all the same color. They have some variations in them. So that's what I'm doing. Now I'm going to flip it around and I'm going to do the bottom up and meet. I use this technique a lot and flick it. You just have to be careful not to flick too much. And often you can't see where one meets and the other doesn't. Okay, not bad. I'm going to clean off my blender pen. And I'm now going to use Garden Green to do my leaves. Oh, I've got to get Crumb Cake. I totally missed the stem when I was pulling my stuff. So I'm going to use a very light hand. And again, I'm using a really light color. I'm pulling it out so it's not dark. When it's dark, you lose a piece of pumpkin. I missed up there. Let me go back and pick that up. If you use a dark color, you lose the detail, the lines and all. All right, let me go get my crumb cake so I can do the stem. Okay, here's my crumb cake. I'm going to do my stem. There's a spot there I missed and up there. There we go. Clean off your blender pen. And the only thing I have left is to use my crushed curry that I'm going to use for the inside of his eyes, like he's lit up. All right. Oh, almost done. All right, there we go. Isn't he cute? And remember, the other side you can use for fall. All right, I gotta find my tip. Put my cap back on. I can get rid of this. And I'm going to take my framelit and cut this out. Set it aside and couldn't find it. Now you just have to remember to match up the top and the bottom, because see, if you did it this way, it doesn't work. So just be aware that that's something you have to do. All right, let me cut this out and we'll finish up. I am not using this as the tag. I'm going to cut this off. So I only put my plate over this much so it didn't cut the whole thing and waste all that paper. So now I'm going to take my snips and I'm just going to follow it on around and cut it off. And then I have just the image that I want. So that is going to go on here like so, and I'm going to put it on with dimensionals. Since this is shiny paper, you have to be very careful. You can easily scratch it, and getting things to stick to it can be a challenge. So that's why I'm using dimensionals right in the middle. Time to put our little pumpkin guy on, and again I'm going to use some dimensionals. There it goes, and I hid that one mistake. Isn't that cute? Now you could do a black background, still put it on the black, but mount it on a piece of pumpkin pie and put it on a pumpkin pie card. So much you can do with this. This will be a favorite of mine from the catalog. And I did the inside in the envelope. I hope I've inspired you today. If you liked my video, give me a thumbs up. Share it with your friends. Show them it's time to get started on those holiday cards. Have a great day.